I'll just go ahead and do a quick intro on myself. My name is John Kelly. I look after product management here at Contentstack. Been with the company for about 6 going on 7 years. So seen us from itty bitty CMS company all the way through scaling up to where we are today. Really diving into the DXP space, the digital experience platform space. And I do recognize that this actually is probably the first time you're hearing from myself, first time you're hearing from Adam Smith here, my colleague in sales engineering, kind of first time you're possibly hearing or even learning about Contentstack. So wanted to say welcome first and foremost. Welcome to the family. We're really excited about the Lytics team joining. We've been interacting with that team over the past few weeks, really getting to know them. They've been getting to know us, what we do, kind of how we work. And I think the synergies between our two organizations are pretty apparent, even from day one. So really excited about the possibilities here. For today's session, we did want to go into a little bit of an overview on Contentstack, kind of our view of the world really briefly. We can also touch on sort of our vision for Contentstack plus Lytics and kind of how that is going to position all of us jointly to really capture our sort of corners of the room, corners of the market, regardless of where we happen to exist and what we happen to be doing with our shared services. And so I guess I can go ahead and share my screen here, and let me, actually, I believe our first time using this particular platform. So let me go ahead and just find that, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one, which I believe should be, there we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and go into slideshow mode here. So Adam, also as on stage, if you are seeing something weird from your side, please let me know, but I'll go ahead and kind of take this forward from here. So my name's, like I said, John, Director of Product here at Contentstack. Adam, do you wanna introduce yourself?
Good day, everyone. My name is Adam Smith. I'm on the solution engineering team here at Contentstack. So I will be your technical tour guide for looking at the combined solution, and also here to answer any questions you might have. While John's talking, I will be monitoring the chat. So if anything comes to mind, just drop it in the chat and I'll do what I can to help.
Awesome. So give our intros. I think what we want to do is give a little bit of window into Contentstack a bit and sort of our motivations here for this joint partnership. And then of course, Adam will go into a bit of a demo for us. We are recording this. So if you are, you need to drop, or you're kind of multitasking, or you want to share this with a colleague later, you'll be able to get the link from our marketing team here pretty soon. Also, we do have a Q&A function here, so you should be able to use that, submit those questions. If we can get to them live, we will. And if we have time at the end, we'll try to answer those. If not, we'll be able to send answers kind of post the session itself. So I think just like kind of first and foremost, the one thing that we want to acknowledge here on this call with Contentstack being, starting with our roots as a headless CMS, one of the things that we were really intended on building is a way to tell the right story to the right audience at the right time. That wasn't really our initial kind of bread and butter. It was really just around sort of core kind of headless or composable content management, where we have a document database and we have some highly structured RESTful and GraphQL APIs and a CDN in front of all that, and that was really handy and is really sort of like the core of what a lot of companies are still looking to do. But of course, we want to make sure that we can actually provide some intelligence on top of that. We want to make sure that we can provide the tools and a big toolbox to bring or build your own tools to really help you tell the right story to the right audience at the right time, and do so in a way that is actionable, that provides clarity of purpose, clarity of task, that gives your teams the confidence in what they're doing, that lets them know if the actions they're taking are actually working and worth something. So, I think there's a variety of challenges here on the actual personalization front itself. Of course, as we're kind of seeing here, a big one is just the fact that it is kind of disjointed in terms of the actual sort of content production process. There's obviously, in most cases, a pretty heavy reliance on tech teams, IT teams, oftentimes, the sort of mix of non-technical user or team kind of, dropping requests and tickets into an engineering backlog has still been there for a long time. And, we're working on ways to basically help make that process a little more streamlined. Obviously, this kind of second bucket is very near and dear to the Lytics audience, which is that customer data is oftentimes not able to be actioned, right? And so it is being collected in a lot of ways, it is being stored in a lot of places, it is available in a lot of places, but it needs to be sort of made actionable. It needs to be used for a very specific purpose, which is sort of the cyclical nature of, okay, who are our customers? What do we want to say? When should we say it? And how should we say it? And so we, of course, are very keen to be able to make customer data a cornerstone of our capabilities, and to make it actionable as well. And it's, of course, very difficult to kind of repeat those processes, and to do so in a way that's operationalized. You know, one thing we like to say is it's quite difficult for one team to tell one blended story to one audience today. They sort of oftentimes barely get that across the finish line. It's 35 times as hard to tell 35 different stories to 35 different audiences, right? And so being able to do so at scale in an operationally effective way is also quite difficult. So this is just a quick overview of kind of why Lytics and Contentstack for us made so much sense. Also, notably, this was purely by happenstance. The logos sort of can actually blend together almost seamlessly if you look at just the shapes of everything, which is really nice. So we're extremely excited about this partnership and what we can really do together. And so as part of raising that bar, we are really, the thing that we like to say sort of internally that we're starting to adopt is that content plus data equals magic, right? Content without the data is just, you know, your best guess, sometimes a shot in the dark, based on heuristics and your own intuitions, which are obviously extremely important, and you have to rely on those at the end of the day. But having the data to back up those decisions is going to be a really critically differentiating capability for companies who are looking into the future. And then data without the experience layer, it's also just kind of siloed. It's not as actionable. It's not as useful as it could be. So content plus data is in our what we're targeting here is a little bit of magic. So giving you the real-time insights that you already know, giving you the ability to do personalization at scale, giving you the ability to do data-driven content management, audience-driven content management. So saying hello again to Contentstack, you can see just a handful of brands that we do work with here. Our kind of North Star for us as a business is that the world's best digital experiences run on Contentstack. And I really do hope and fully expect, this slide was obviously created before our partnership, but fully expect that a lot of you in the audience also hopefully will be featured on slides like this as well. Some of the reasons that, you know, some of the best brands, biggest brands in the world, and we're not going to do like a NASCAR slide. We, of course, do have, you know, upwards of 500 enterprise customers today globally, some of the largest ones in any given category that you could imagine. But, you know, we are built for enterprise, so that is our bread and butter. We didn't start as an SMB product and try to sort of struggle our way or work our way up the mountain towards the top. We actually went straight for the enterprise space, and that is kind of where we, you know, where we cut our teeth, what we're good at, and which aligns really well, I think, with if we look at our now new customer base, including all of our Lytics users. It really opens up the door and the aperture for the capabilities that our joint customer bases now have access to, which is a very complementary set of tools and use cases. So security, scale, dependability, availability, everything that enterprises count on is exactly what we focus on. Additionally, around just flexibility and agility of the platform itself. And so extensibility and flexibility is a sort of a core tenet and a cornerstone of how composable technologies are built in the first place. It is really kind of like you know, it's almost not even an explicit charter. It's almost just like built into our DNA from what we do from day one. So all the products we build are fully API equipped. You have access to every single CRUD operation and operation in the application through its APIs, both delivery and management when it makes sense. And that is actually true of Lytics as well, which is great. And so that is from a technological perspective, that particular piece of tech fits perfectly in line with our portfolio and family of products as well. And we really pride ourselves on the ability for Contentstack to be a flexible, agile system. And that is kind of what truly sets it apart from the other kind of legacy style DXPs in the space. As an interesting sort of anecdote, the youngest DXP in those in that particular category, these are products like Optimizely, like Sitecore, like Adobe AEM. The youngest one was founded in, I think, 1998 or something. And so they've been around for a little while. And so the approach is starting to look a little bit long in the tooth. And I think ours is a bit of a refreshed view into that market. And then the third kind of pillar here is that, of course, it is completely customizable. So through our app framework, our developer hub, our app SDK, our marketplace, you will find a pretty immense amount of tooling available to you to create a very bespoke authoring and user experience within the CMS that is able to be highly aligned and matching to everything you're looking to provide for your for your content teams, for your marketing teams, for your users in the platform. And so across the entire spectrum, we do have ability to extend and customize and create experiences that, again, are just highly bespoke for your audience. And so a lot of the biggest businesses in the world do have those sort of complex, very niche and built up over time processes, and they need to align those inside of their content tools, and we offer the ability to do that. So this is a kind of busy slide, but I think a couple of notable call outs here is that we do have a variety of tools that were built to, in our kind of estimation, satisfy a lot of the jobs with a capital J to be done in the sort of content development lifecycle. So things like ideation, collaboration, planning, project management, workflows and releases, of course, the content creation cycle itself, a lot of tooling around content management and delivery, which we've talked about. And we actually have some other sort of horizontal capabilities as well. Things like an automations tool we call Automate, which is really like a visual workflow builder intended to kind of build resiliency into your composable ecosystem. We like to think about it as like an IFTTT or a Zapier, but for sort of content operations. Wonderful tool. You all will now have access to that. You should feel free to play with it and really experience the power of that platform. We do have actually a serverless hosting product called Launch, very similar to like a Netlify or Vercel, able to not only power applications and websites, but also to run just like some cloud functions in the background as well. And of course, our personalized product, which the Lytics platform will integrate very seamlessly, and in fact already is integrated, as you'll see today in our demo, pretty well with that. And you can see just here on the bottom left, some of the bona fides from one of our customers, Air France KLM, who are kind of one of the high watermarks in terms of customer service and digital experience and sort of customer journeys as well. This is as of Contentstack pre-Lytics. You can only imagine how excited they are now. We've already had calls with them to be including the ability to tap into customer data and do some customer journey stuff as well moving forward. But they're really looking at Contentstack to be that entire to power the entire bear hug between their customers, regardless of where they are in their journey. Digging in a little bit more to the personalization capabilities here themselves, it is basically driven from a native capability that we wrote a couple of years ago and have been positioning for commercial release, and actually went commercially available mid to late last year. So a lot of our customers are getting onboarded to that. They're starting to deploy their first experiences. They're starting to kind of see how that's going to help tell that right story to that right audience at that right time. And it includes a variety of capabilities. So the first is segmentation, so audience segmentation. So you can create an experience that is stratified according to an audience. Audiences are made up of attributes. Those attributes, very importantly, will be able to come seamlessly through Lytics. And so this is the integration specifically that we are talking about, to be able to power audiences which are specifically assigned to different variations of content within the CMS directly through customer data. So your customer data is actually controlling who will see what and when, and is basically available to your content teams to directly create those experiences directly for those audiences. And importantly, being able to even impersonate those audiences within the content tool itself. We also have an A/B testing tool, so an experimentation tool, which very similarly, you can assign different audiences based on those attributes to different variants and basically run through some experiments. A lot of configuration is available there on how the experiments will operate. But yeah, there's a whole nother side of personalize that is all focused on experimentation. And of course, all that integrates natively with our automation product, as well as we have some brand-aware Gen AI products as well. So the ability to use Gen AI and large language models, again, to achieve that sort of at-scale side of personalization, where you're sort of widening the bandwidth of everything you can actually do in a way that is actually aware of the context and relevancy for the task at hand as it relates to your brand. And we have an entire product called Brand Kit, intended to help work with Gen AI in a way that is super highly aligned and relevant to your brand, your team, your jobs, the tasks you're trying to do, and it works phenomenally well. So hoping I didn't take up too much time here. I know we're behind anyway, but I will at this point pass it over to Adam for our demo.
Great. Give me just one moment. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. What we're taking a look at here is really the integration of Contentstack, right, with our audiences, along with Lytics. So if we take a peek here, we've got this marketing page that we've created. And one of the things to keep in mind is, as John pointed out earlier, we have this notion of having our audiences in personalize. And you can see here, what we're starting to do is we've synchronized all of those behavioral attributes, right, as well as other things that we know about this particular user, and we've synchronized all of those audiences so we can see exactly what sort of experiences we're tailoring for this user. So here, for example, you can see that they're part of the interest Asia, as well as a food and drink enthusiast, right? So what we're starting to do is surface content based upon their behavior, and also from our personalization product, things that are tagged with those specific audiences or variants, right, that we're showing. The other thing is we're taking this behavioral data right from Lytics in terms of our quantity, recency. Obviously, these are all pegged pretty high right now because I've been visiting the page quite a bit. But then also looking at their interests, right? So you can see here, based upon my behavior and activity within the site, it's now targeting very specifically for food and drink, for Asia as a destination, as well as transportation. And what's cool about the way that these interests are being used as well is they're actually synchronized directly with our taxonomy. So kind of looking at it from kind of behind the scenes back here in Contentstack, you can see here we have a direct integration, right? In terms of I'm able to see as a marketer, okay, these are the specific regions and topics. And of course, for this particular piece of content, this particular landing page, if I wanted to change these, right, that would then of course be reflected in my Lytics integration as well. So really a lot of opportunities there in terms of taking a look at the audiences, the different attributes, right, and going through there. So that's all I really had to show today. John, anything you want to add while I'm in here?
No, I think this is really the primary piece of evidence of the integrations that we're working on here, which is really in a way that really makes the sort of joints value propositions between our two products supremely straightforward and actually really easy. So I think there's an interesting sort of anecdote around the Back to the Future 2, where sort of beyond a certain speed, 88 miles an hour and above, things happen that are really interesting. Below that, a lot fewer things can happen. And so we're really interested in going forward in kind of time to market, speed to value, and ensuring that we are making the process of this really complex interwoven ecosystem of digital experiences across multi-channels really simple for our customers, of which you all are now as well, and able to get value really, really quickly, which we know that activating customer data has always been a challenge. We know that content without awareness of who your customers are has always been a challenge. And so we're hyper-focused on the synergies between these two platforms, and we couldn't be more excited about the future. So thank you again for all of your attention. And I do believe, Adam, I'm not sure where we're at on time, but please do stay tuned. We probably will get a subsequent sort of more Contentstack focused demo going in the near future as we continue to build out this integration. And also there's tons of videos out there please do check out our academy. You can find it at contentstack.com/academy. There's a huge amount of resources there for you, both interactive, course-based material, but also videos as well.
Nice to chat with everyone. If you have any questions, get in touch.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.